Job was for non-licensed representatives. However, before I went over there, because they really wanted me, and I said, hey, I really want to go. However, I am in school, so would you be okay with working with around my schedule? And they were like, sure. So they were like, sure, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to turn down. I just added the oil, and now I do a little fun stuff, and I put the spices in the pan. All right, now I take it off the pan, off the fire, so it doesn't burn. But this is just my way of how I cook some of my dishes. I kind of season the oil, and I add all of the seasonings. I know it's a different type of way than some people do it, but it works for me. Here, let me do this. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're cooking with gratitude, y'all. Okay, let's pause. We're gonna be careful. We're gonna put the fish in there. We're gonna put the fish in there. And then again, this is orange roughy. I've already cleaned it and soaked it in apple cider vinegar. And so we're gonna put the last slab in there. Now, I'm gonna put just a little bit of spring water in there so it can steam. And this is how I'm gonna get the fish until it's nice and fluffy. So it's on there. Perfect. I'm gonna turn down the fire to about 4-ish, so it can cook fast enough, but not too fast. All right, the rice is looking good. So this rice is pretty much done. Again, like I said, I don't normally do the rice. I do my own rice, but we're for time. Let me taste this. Yep, this is good. Tastes different. I would prefer to have done my own rice, but it's okay. So the rice is done. Before I went over, I said, hey, I'm in school. They really wanted me. I said, would you be happy to work around my current school schedule? I need to leave my job no later than 2:30. And they were like, okay. Now, this particular department of the phone center, they only had, if I recall, 3 shifts. 8 to 5, which everybody wanted to be on, 9 to 6, and I think the other one was 10 to 7. Yeah, 10 to 7. I think we had an hour lunch. I'm sorry, it was 11 to 7. 11 to 7. So 8 to 5, 9 to 6, and 11 to 7. And most times people on the 11 to 7 shift, they actually, that was either their stats weren't as high, and so they're bid, people who had great stats would get the better shifts, which is the 8 to 5 or the 9 to 6. So I said, I cannot work the 8 to 5 shift. Would you be open just for now, because I'm currently going to school and I need to get off by 2:30 because my class starts at 3:30 and I have to pick up my children. And what I would do is I would get my children from school and I would take them and they would sit in the back of the class while I was in school. Yes, they would. And my children did their homework and they were very obedient. I have incredible children. They were awesome. So they agreed. And so they were concerned because I wouldn't have been able to take phone calls. They didn't think I would. But my philosophy was the headquarters was in New York, so they were open 2 hours earlier. So if it was 6 here, it was 8 there, and we can get their overflow. So they said, okay, we'll try it. So we tried it for 3 months, and then I said, hey, I'm seeing some trends here. There's a lot of calls. And they said, okay, why don't you monitor it for about 30 days and let me know, this is what my supervisor, and let me know how many calls you were doing. So I did it for 30 days, and it was a plethora of calls. So many calls so that they opened up a shift from 6 to 2. So that was great. So that in Denver, so that was great. And then then we looked into opening up more shifts, like 3 12s and a half day with 2.5 days off, or 4 10s and 3 days off. Okay, so that me coming into that different department, into that role, because of my schooling, I was able to open up more shifts. So now we had a 6 to 2, 4 10s, 8 to 5, a 9 to 6, and the 11 to 7. Okay, so now they see that I'm definitely an asset in the company, and I'm always looking for ways for improvement. So they put me on this big project to look at their statements to make sure they're more legible. I was with someone else. We worked on this project for 6 months to make their statements, to review their statements. I think it was about 3 or 4 of us to review the statements, make sure they're legible, see where areas they need to improvement, if they need to, like, make the numbers bigger or put certain things in certain areas. So we worked on that for 6 months, and I ended up getting a bonus for that. So all this, and I'm telling you this because there's a backstory into the story. Now, one of my supervisors at the time, I don't remember honestly what happened, but he ended up making me upset. So I went to speak to his supervisor. And again, she was amazing. I remember I'm not going to say her name. I'm going to say her name is Andy. And she was redhead. Love this woman. She was like just a boss lady. And she was just moving herself up in the ladder. So she was a manager, and then I had my supervisor. So and I went to her to say, something happened, and I was crying. Again, I was very young and very sensitive, and very naive. Even though my integrity of work was stellar, it was just, I wanted everybody to like me. That was just the truth. So anyhow, she listened, and then she grabs a box of tissue. She gives it to me. She's like, wipe your face. And she says, I want to tell you, don't you ever let anybody, especially a man in this business, see you cry. And she said, it's okay to be upset. And she's like, but maintain your confidence, maintain your emotions, and and don't let people get understand. So she said a lot of other stuff, and then we came to some coaching in some way that better. She talked to my boss, and he apologized for whatever he did, and and we were good after that. Everything was great. But I love that because she helped me to hone in some skills where I just did not feel confident in regards to how to go to my boss to advocate about what he said because he hurt my feelings about something I don't remember. But again, she was very objective, very fair, very equitable, and I love that. And so she didn't reprimand him. We had a win-win solution. So anyhow, she moves and she goes to become a director. So he was going to school to get his master's degree because he wanted to be a director, and so now he was moving into being a manager. Now the whole department was really big, so now they wanted to split and bring in 2 managers. So and then they were split the whole department. So now I'm working for a different manager, and we'll call her we'll call her Shirley. So we were good at for a specific time, and I had worked under her for I believe about a year after Andy left. And then of course they split and they shifted my supervisor over another team, and so forth and so on, and this Shirley on this team. So still cooking. I'm looking at the food. It looks great. I'm gonna just get this. Let me get this out the way. So now it comes time for ooh, this looks so good. Oh my god. So now it comes time for performance eval. Now, again, I'm Muslim, so with Muslims, I can't speak for everyone. I don't participate in every single potluck because we don't eat pork, and I don't know what you cook your food in, if you cook any pork in your dishes. And so a lot of times when we had potlucks, I didn't really participate in because they didn't really also honor my dietary restrictions. So what would happen if we had pizza, if they ordered a pizza, had a pizza party, and they ordered pizza, everybody wanted these meat and cheese, these meat pies and everything, and so I would order either a cheese and a veggie, and then for some reason everybody would eat the veggie and the cheese, and I'm like, but you guys ordered all this meat. Nonetheless, the pork meat, like the sausage, the pepperoni. So anyhow, I didn't participate in a lot of the potlucks, but I was a very big advocate of being a team player. I did a team build. I participated in a big team building exercise. We had we just had all these great team building exercises. We what is it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. it'll come back to me. But it was very successful what we did, and they praised us on this group because we wanted to, just build up the morale, because you're taking calls all day and it could be overwhelming. Oh, it was an obstacle course. So we did a team building that was an obstacle course, and it was so fun. So come fast forward a year later, I'm Shirley. And so she's giving my review, and these were like 1, 2, 3, 4s, 5s. Okay, so I'm an overachiever, so I want 4s and 5s. Even a 3, I'm just like, ugh, but 4s and 5s, 4s and 5s, So I go to